Hello and welcome to this video on question 2 of paper 2. Now you might be looking at the top of the screen there and seeing there's question 3 up there. Why is that there at the beginning of question 2? Well, question 3 is about source A, which means you only have to look at one source to do the paper. That is really efficient, and it means you should do that before question 2. Do question 3 before question 2. Let me show you again why. Here you are at the top of your screen, question 2, paper 2, you need to refer to source A and source B. Now that's really difficult to do under exam conditions, and it's what makes question 2 so hard. You've gone from this easy question 1 and suddenly, boom, you're into 2 sources. No, why make the exam so difficult for yourself? Do question 3 first, because you only have to read source A there. Right, let's look at question 2 in detail now. Here is a typical question. The ways the animals hunt is different. Put that in italics because you might be asked for similarities, but you're most probably going to be asked for differences. It's not definite, but it'll be one or the other. Use details from both sources to write a summary of the different methods of hunting the lion in source A uses and the spider in source B uses at night. The bits that are underlined are the bits that will be the same no matter what the question is. So you'll always be asked to look at source A and B. You'll always be asked to write a summary. It'll probably be about different methods instead of the same methods. The things that you're looking at, like the hunting, might be slightly different. So hunting generally and hunting at night here, just to try and make you focus more in the exam. So the examiner here for these 8 marks wants you to zoom in. They want you to be able to find really specific information from a small part of the text here. They don't want you to look at the whole thing. Or rather, you need to look at the whole thing to get that small bit of information. They don't want you repeating loads of information. Okay, let's have a look at the exam tactics. Okay, remember I told you not to do question 2 second. Well, here's another reason at point 4 here. The mean score was below 50% on this question. 3.5 marks out of 8, because students did not spot differences and did not infer meaning. We'll look at what those 2 things mean in a minute, but what it really means for you is this is the hardest question in the exam. It's the one that students do least well on. They get 50% of the marks or below. So why is this so difficult? Let's go back up to number 1 and see what the problems are. Write a summary by synthesizing evidence from both sources. So first, you've got to find equal bits of evidence from source A and source B, and they'll either be similarities or differences. Well, what's so difficult about that is lots of students found the differences, but they found obvious differences they didn't infer. And when this is in the exam question, what the examiner is really telling you is that these differences or similarities aren't so easy to spot. You've got to read between the lines. And I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. The focus on the question will be narrow, as I explained. They don't want you to go all over the text. They want you just to get little bits of information to test how well you understand the reading. Another reason why you should do this after question 3, because you'll know source A much better then. You don't need to point out the time differences. One's obviously a 19th century or earlier text, will it be 19th century, sorry. You don't get any marks for pointing out that one's written 150 years ago, and you don't get any more marks for saying that. Okay, so that's not part of the mark scheme. Okay, so the problem I told you was that students typically found a difference but didn't infer. So let's look at a question and find out what inference means. Here we go. For example, the whole text will be about the habits of spiders, imagine. Okay, it's about the habits of spiders, not just the hunting. Only a small part of this will refer to the hunting for that narrow focus that I talked about. And so you might get a quotation like this: the spider digests its meal at its leisure. Well, okay, what does this tell us about the spider? Well, an inference might be the spider does not fear predators, and so he doesn't have to eat, or she does not have to eat in a hurry. That's why it's at its leisure. Or the spider does not fear rivals, so it does not eat in a hurry. or the spider is a good hunter and knows that the next meal will also be easy to catch, so does not eat in a hurry. Okay, so those are three inferences that I can make from that one sentence. Now, here's the difficult bit. Which inference is relevant to the question? Remember, the question was about hunting. Okay, well, let's go back up to the question. And we had to write about the different methods of hunting of the lion and the spider at night. And so we've got a big problem here. Although this is about the spider being a hunter, it's not about a method of hunting. And so it doesn't count towards the question. I can't get any marks for it. Okay, so we've established that another problem is that you can infer, but you might infer about the wrong part of the text that's not relevant to the question, which you remember was about methods. So let's have a look at a different sentence that might appear. Under cover of darkness, the funnel web spider blows its glowing horn to attract a mate. This has the added advantage of mimicking the sound of the female binky moth, which is thereby lured to the web and soon becomes a meal for two, if the horn has succeeded in attracting a romantic funnel web spider. I've made all this up, by the way. Don't go on the internet and find out if this is true or not. But how can we infer from this? Well, we know it's relevant to the question because under cover of darkness suggests this is a method that happens at night. Okay, well, I now have to name the methods. Well, one is that the funnel web spider uses sound. The other one is, oops, sorry, let me undo that. The other one is that it uses the sexual desire of the moth, the binky moth. It's that sexual desire or mating sounds to hunt them. Now, what you might not have noticed is an inference that you can make from the glowing horn here. If the horn is glowing rather than just blowing, it is using light to attract the mating female. So that's another method. And if you're being really sophisticated, this is more sophisticated than an exam question probably, and we can argue that the funnel web spider is also hunting, not to kill, but is hunting a mate of its own, and thereby attracting the mate with this glowing horn. So it's trying to hunt a mate with the same method. Now I've shown you that to show you how to infer and how important that inference has to be to the methods. And the question will always be about methods, so that's what you need to do. Good luck with question 2. Remember, do it after question 3, and stay tuned for question 3 next.